Be Nice Individuals podcast.
Hey folks, this is Thaddeus. I'm on the Be Nice Individuals podcast, which is hosted here at the Flaglervoice podcast studio. Again, if you guys have been seeing the content we've been putting out, this is a studio for rent. Has everything you might need if you're trying to produce a podcast, get your ideas out there. Perhaps you're a political candidate, want to talk to your constituents. We actually have a call-in feature where you can make that happen live or recorded, however you want to do it. So, been bringing on very cool people lately. And I have in studio Monica with Senior Concierge Management, and she's going to tell us more about her business. Monica, it is lovely to have you in studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me here, and hopefully we can talk a little bit about my business and make it a little bit more clear for the people what to expect.
Sure. So, first, I looked at the website briefly. Obviously, I met you before at another networking meeting, but what is Senior Concierge Management? Tell me, kind of just lay it all out. Assume I don't know anything.
So, Senior Concierge and Management, it's actually a care manager for elderly. That's what I am. I'm a care manager for elderly. And what that means is that, like a scenario for me would be where the parents are here, elderly seniors, and the kids are living in a different state, and they're worried. How's mom and dad doing? Where are they at? So I'm the boots on the ground for that child.
Yeah.
I can go in, make an assessment, send it to the kids and say, mom is here, dad is here, or one of them, whatever the contract is made, however the contract is made. And then we can start from there. So I am assessing everything out of that family, like the legal house needs to be in order, like we have all the wills and trusts and power of attorneys, because when you need them on an emergency basis, it's very hard to do them. Then I'm looking at the health situation. Then I'm looking at the financials, and then I'm looking to the wishes. So I'm trying to combine all those aspects together and develop a plan of care. And upon the approval, we are continuing to follow up so that plan is put in place. It might not seem important, but crises in a senior life are very unexpected and very rough. So I would say care management is very, very important.
It kind of sounds like how this would be immensely beneficial is, say there are children that are out of state. It's almost like you are like a sibling or
Exactly.
somebody locally where
Exactly.
you can kind of look after that family member.
Exactly. I am becoming a family member. Or,
Yeah.
for example, another scenario would be where husband and wives are here in Florida or in our area, more exactly, and one of them is getting sick. The other one is the caregiver. So I can come in and ease the burden of the caregiving one, of the one that's the caregiver. I kind of show, looking at the same aspects and element as I said before, legal, health-wise, financial wishes.
Yeah.
We try to make a plan of care, and I try to help for the one that's a caregiver to be a spouse and not the caregiver. As we well know, caregivers are very stressed, and it's very hard for them.
Yeah.
Sometimes something can happen to them before the actual sick person, because the stress of the caregiving. So that would be another scenario for me. Or, for example, like a sandwich generation, kids here taking care of their teenage kids, or kids, grandkids, whatever, and they have mom and dad in their senior years, and it's just impossible to juggle all those aspects.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's where I come in, and I can custom what I'm doing. I can do as much as my client wants.
Yeah.
We approach with a lot of dignity and a lot of passion the situation, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that is one thing where, especially with like children,
Mm,
they want it just to be perfect, or maybe they're not necessarily the client, the parents are the client,
mhm.
but the kids are having certain demands which the
Exactly.
parents don't want.
Don't want
It,
to follow. Yes, that's very common, very, very common. And then there is this basically fight between
Mhm.
what the kids want and what the parents want. So we need to make sure that we, my client are the parents basically.
Mhm.
So I want to make sure that they are treated how they deserve to be treated
Yeah,
according to their wishes. But we need them to be safe. We need them to have dignity, the care that's accorded, that's, that they have. And I also try to implement the kids' wishes into that plan of care. It's a process. Nothing happens overnight.
it sounds kind of like you're a ringleader, like of a circus.
Pretty much.
I don't mean to say that like,
I understand
but
that that's
it's
how it is sometimes. It's a
yeah,
circus. We wear lots of hats.
yeah,
So we are, like a nurse, like a child, like
yeah.
whatever, counseling, whatever's needed. I am there. I am there. And I have a lot of passion. I have 25 years of experience
Oh
in
wow,
working
that's
with
cool.
dementia
Yeah.
and seniors. And I work with my husband. And altogether, we have around 45-ish years of experience.
Wow.
Yes, and we love what we are doing, and we are really good at what we are doing. We have a lot of passion
Yeah.
in what we are doing.
Yeah. Do you have? I love stories.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any stories of how, in being the ringleader, you had to manage the children and the parents, and because you're coming from the outside, and you want to keep those relationships still connected and cohesive. Do
Yes.
you have any stories like that of how kind of a crazy situation maybe
Yes, I
worked
can.
out?
I cannot say names or so because
Sure.
of HIPAA,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I can definitely give you an example. Um, I'll start with my role in here. So I'm
Yeah.
a care provider for 25 years. But on the same time, I lost my mom in 2019 to
Oh, I'm sorry.
dementia with
Yeah.
bad behaviors. Thank
Yeah.
you. So I was a daughter too. I was on both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
So I dealt with this family where mom and dad had dementia. One was worse than the other. And the kids wanted for them to go in an assisted living, go into a place where they're going to get like 24 hours care. And the parents were not in agreement at all because they did not realize where they are at.
Yeah.
They thought that they are fine. They just took a shower in the morning. They just had the breakfast. And those things were happening in their mind, bless their hearts,
Yeah.
not in reality. So I had to go in there and I had to apply a lot of techniques that work with people with dementia, a lot of redirecting, a lot of storytelling in a very, very respectful manner where I had them convinced that an assisted living would work best for them. So we start
Yeah.
saying it's temporary, and actually we believed into that. It was like, let's see if they get adjusted.
Yeah.
So we went into a facility. I was there like 2-3 times a week, or when the facility called me, I was there reporting back to the family.
Yeah.
This is how we go. So it took about, I would say, a month for them to get used over there.
Mhm.
And after that point, they believed that that was their home.
Yeah.
So everybody was happy. They got adjusted. They enjoyed the help that they had, and the family was happy that they have support that make sure about that their parents were safe. So that was a situation. It took a while, but eventually we got there. So
Yeah.
it's not something happening overnight. No, that's not, unless is like a hospital situation
Sure.
where you need to go like now. You
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
like 24 hours to solve the
Oh
problem.
yeah. Absolutely.
So then you have to move like a speedy and find a solution for that situation that
Yeah.
hopefully is in agreement with the family and the client and everybody involved.
Absolutely. See, that's one of the things that's kind of important. So, my background is law enforcement, and so I have
Okay.
had some interactions with people who had dementia
Yes.
and stuff. One thing that I feel like the general public doesn't think about is with dementia, there's certain functions that the elderly person will cease to do, such as they might forget to eat.
Exactly.
They might forget to take their medicine and all this stuff.
Mhm.
So, in a situation that you were talking about, the difficult situation, just being able to coax them into a place where they would be safe, their
Exactly.
life would be extended, that's truly amazing.
It's yes, it's priceless. Just speaking about your law enforcement background,
Mhm.
just the story came to my mind where we have. I had this client that the family needed her to go into an assisted living,
Mhm.
and she didn't want to go. So
Yeah.
the daughter put her in the car and took her to the assisted living, and that's where we came into the situation.
Yeah.
Mom didn't want to come off of the car.
Okay.
The daughter didn't want to bring her back home because it was a trauma already to that point, so she didn't want to make more of it.
Sure.
So my advice was to take her to the emergency room because she was so adamant she's not going to go inside. She was all red on her face. I think blood pressure was up to the sky.
Yeah.
So that's what she did, took her to the emergency room. She stayed there overnight, and the second day she came to the same assisted living with an ambulance.
Okay.
Now, same story. She doesn't want to come out of the ambulance,
Oh.
and the ambulance driver eventually had to call 911.
Yeah.
So this police guy came, and she was complaining about the daughter, and she said that she has been abused and this and that, because there is a little paranoia
Sure.
with that
Yeah.
situation.
Absolutely.
So we had to go in there and we had to listen to her story. And her room in the facility was already set up for her.
Okay.
So the police officer was very gentle and took her hand, and she trusted that guy.
That's nice.
So we went inside with him and her, and we started looking at the picture. She started talking about the family and all that. So the situation was diffused. I can tell you that the adjustment took like a 6 months period,
Yeah.
but that initial, contact and initial hard time, we diffused it, in that way. So thank you very much to the law enforcement because we have a lot of, contacts together.
Yeah, that's awesome. One of the things I probably wanted to ask is
Sure.
obviously, I assume most of the clients or all the clients obviously don't end up in assisted living
No.
necessarily. You're assessing, you're going out there, you're checking to make sure everything is still good with them, and if they can still live independently.
So our goal is to keep them home as long as they can, as long as they can afford it, and
Yeah.
as long as they are safe.
Sure.
So that would be the goal. That's why we are looking at the financials too,
Yeah.
because some people can afford to stay home till the end,
Sure.
age in place. Some people cannot, and then we find options for that. And
Sure.
then the end is not necessarily like a large assisted living. It can be a small home with 5 people where they get the care, 24 hours care, and more personalized, more home-like.
Mhm.
So that's another option too. So there are a lot of endings to this story. I'm talking about the assisted living because probably is the most used solution,
Yeah.
but I'm not looking for the most used or the more common. I'm looking
Sure.
for what my clients want, what they can
Personalized.
exactly.
Yeah.
Everything is custom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing. Like from my time in law enforcement though, just
Thank you.
thinking about the kind of some of the elderly that were so isolated,
hmm
and to have somebody to come in that's great
Exactly.
to check on them, make sure they're still well.
Yes.
But if they do end up in a situation of assisted living with kind of a community,
Exactly.
that can help with just well-being, mental health,
Exactly.
that isolation.
Social life.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. But as I said, there are people that can age in place, and that's
Mhm.
what they want, and they
Yeah,
are
sure.
very, very, decisive about it.
Yeah,
So we are looking at that goal, and we are trying to make that happen.
yeah,
It's not going to be feasible probably for somebody that doesn't have the money to, sustain a 24-hour caregiver through
Sure.
a company, or somebody who's very frail and need a lot of help,
sure.
and really needing that 24-hour caregiver. So
Yeah,
there are situations and situation. Pretty much everybody is a unique case.
Yeah.
Everybody is like a book that you open and you read through it, and you try to make the best ending to that story.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. That's really amazing. I just love that description of it.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
it is what it is. You cannot, there is no, typical situation that I take it from here and I put it over this new situation. Oh, everything, this one needs to be cut out. This one.
Sure.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
We come respectful, we come humble, and we try to get the client to know us and trust us,
Yeah.
and try to be a family member and somebody that they will value and look for. Like I am very happy when I get the phone call from a client saying, "Oh, you weren't here like in a week. I miss you. I want to
Yeah.
see you."
Yeah.
So that for me is everything.
Oh, that's great.
That's a relationship that we establish, and
Yeah.
it takes a while because they are not very trustworthy. They don't trust everybody, just and anybody.
Sure.
It's a lot of paranoia, as I said.
Yeah.
People are coming to steal or do them some harm, and we need to be there enough time to convince them that we are not.
Right.
We are there to save them, and we are there as a shoulder that they can rely on.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's great to have people like your company in this community, because this is an
Yeah.
aging community.
For sure.
And specifically Florida in general. It's a lot of elderly here.
Yes.
So I'd like you to shout out your information, how people can get a hold of you, how they can contact you, and any closing remarks you might have as it relates to your company.
So I am in Flagler Beach and Palm Coast the most, but I work from Daytona to St. Augustine, so I can take clients in this area from anywhere.
Okay.
You can see my car and you can stop me. I'll be very, very happy to give information. My phone number is 916 area code 223-9762. My name is Monica again, and our initial consultation is free. I am a private pay company, and our initial consultation is free, so there is no harm in calling me and just, asking me if there is something I can do in your particular situation.
And that's beautiful. So folks out there, make sure you get a hold of Monica with Senior Concierge Management. Look, there's a lot of elderly here in Florida, and it's our responsibility to make sure they're cared for, that they're still well, and that they're living out the best years of their life. This is the remainder of their life. They helped us to come into being. And now I feel like it's our responsibility to make sure that they end in a way that, they can be proud of. And so, yeah, reach out to Monica, Senior Concierge Management, to check on your loved one, to be there to assess, to manage whether or not they want to age in place, or whether or not they might want to go to assisted living so they can have community, so that they can have more people looking out for them, that sort of thing. Either way, make sure you reach out to Monica so that she can come out and give that free assessment. Again, this is Thaddeus, been on the Be Nice Individuals podcast, which today has been hosted at the Flagler Voice podcast studio. Again, this is a space for rent for anybody that wants to come in, shout out their business, their ideas. Maybe they're a political candidate that wants to reach out to their constituents. All that is here and available. We have all the equipment you might need. We'll see you next time.